Right, the last point of the show, I'm actually amazed that everyone's just cool with this deal. This is another thing. This is up there with the online tournament being treated as real CS that I can't even comprehend. Is everyone else just cool with FaZe winning every series fucking ever, but we all know that they are not going to keep this 5-man lineup? This is stupid as fuck. Like, this isn't even like, you know, one of those ones where it's like, you know, it wasn't working. Like, it's one thing when you have those scenarios where, you know, the team isn't working out and like you're going to break the team up because everyone wants to go upset with, but then you have that last LAN that like you qualified to, like a blast or something, and you go, like the Imperial one, and you go, fuck it, we'll go anyway, and since there's no pressure, you play, we had a not bad result. No, this is like essentially they're playing like a real team. They were a real team until all this Saudi shit and / Twists wanting to go to Liquid, and until the org had to be sold and all that. As far as I know, if you just like change those inputs, isn't this lineup just a real team that's number one in CS2 now? And they just going, hey, let's look to the major next year. Let's try and like extend it. Let's try and win 2 majors out of 4 or whatever. You know, like, wouldn't they be doing it? Instead, we're watching them literally be easily the best team, winning all these stuff, also looking awesome in the game. Everyone, even fucking Twists was popping off in the Thunder pick. They're all looking awesome, but we all know it cannot last. And so it's like as the storyline happens, it's almost like it's falling away underneath it, like a rope bridge that you're running over, and it's just like a movie, and it's all falling apart right below the step behind us. Like, it makes the narratives feel so worthless, because on the one hand, like, I want to say this is the number one team, but in 5 minutes they might not even be a team, and that's if they even just play as one player. If they actually just completely split up, this is so stupid as an era. It's fucking mental, mate.
I mean, they're poised to win CAC. Like, they just smashed. I mean, they won a close win against Mouse, and that was probably the only other really good team there. I mean, I don't know if I don't know some like secret inside wisdom, but am I correct in saying that Twist is the only person who's like vaguely confirmed to be leaving?
As far as I know, yeah.
Do we think that is Twist a replaceable player, like in theory, on paper?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, right? on this show, we always do. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of players you could probably put in that role. I think, yeah.
So my hope is that either A, they go with that roster in the game, sort of the game score empire, and Complexity finds like a good loving new home, or B, this roster leaves and finds a good loving new home and replace Twist. I mean, there's a world in which this could happen. We have heard multiple, you know, Valorant orgs, multiple orgs are interested in getting into CS now that now that we're in the winter and things are getting cheaper. I feel like GameScore could offload this quartet for relatively cheap, and it would poise the team to get into CS2. If I was TSM, I would just drop whatever the hell I'm doing right now and just get this roster. Like, I know that'd be awful. Like, Kerrigan and TSM together is like, it's just like unholy abomination. You know,
you never know. Maybe they do it again.
But just please, this FaZe roster, you're right. It is the number one team in CS2 right now. If it keeps going for another 3 months and they stay alive, it could be the first era of CS2. I don't see there's any reason why Kerrigan can't pull that off. So you just have to hope, someone sees that and understands, oh, Kerrigan's really good, but so are the other 3 members that comprise the squad. This may be Kerrigan's last chance to have a great era. I should just sign the whole roster for like $1.8 million and call it a day.
I'm a bit different here. I think that this is like when you go on vacation and then you meet some baddie at like the hotel bar or something like that, and you somehow have great chemistry and things are going really well. It's great in the bedroom too. But you kind of know, like, after I leave, it's over, but I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts. And that's what I'm kind of seeing with FaZe right now. Like, there's a finitude to every roster in existence, and it would be nice to know that there's something, like, there's a chance that this could be extended or whatever. But as it stands, like, the Game Square deal hasn't been completed, which is why Complexity and FaZe are still allowed to compete in the same thing. And so, that's like the same, back to the analogy. It's like, my paths might cross with that woman once again in the future, and who knows if it does or doesn't. But with FaZe right now, they're playing great CS. It's definitely a bit bittersweet to know that this is probably only for a couple more months, or, end of Q1 is when they're going to want to finalize the deal. I'm just throwing out a date out there. But at the same time, I can still appreciate the Counter-Strike that they're playing, and this being in some ways the swan song for them. I wish it was a little bit more formalized so we knew and we could really sell that narrative to ourselves and recognize it and the greatness that that's at display here. But at the same time, I'm just going to take it in day by day and live in the moment as much as I can.
Listen, you may be able to quit that baddie and go on and live your life and be happy, but I can't quit this Kerrigan core. Like, I'm gonna throw myself into confidence it's being buried. Like, just pile the dirt on top of me. I refuse to leave. I've seen what can happen when Kerrigan and Rops get together. Like, I refuse to live in a world where Rops goes to like a random other IGL and like secondhand, you know, like Rops is like, I finally found the IGL who makes me not just a baiter and, you know, a stat hunter. There is no future. Kerrigan can keep playing till he's like 45 years old. I don't give a shit. Like, if he has 4 great players beside him, who the fuck cares? Like, someone needs to save this team, and fuck it. It can be the Saudis. I don't give a shit. It can be the Russian oligarchs. I just, you know, it's not principled, but I can't quit you, Kerrigan. So it's like.
Yeah, that's the problem. Maui also, notice within that, he forced you to accept his framing of what was happening. And so in his framing, he's just like always totally emotionally mature and never thinks what if about that baddie M&Ms. He's just like, there's so many baddies apparently on these like fictional trips that he just knows that he can get one at home and he can, no, what if actually that ends up being the one that haunts you though? And you always think, oh, but what if even in 6 months, what could that have been? And that's the problem, because here's the other issue here. It'd be one thing if FaZe was just like Ents, for example, where like maybe they can win an event, but they tend to come like second or third. Dude, they're winning events and they've won quite a lot of events in the last 2 years. So the other thing is, the reason why it sucks is like if you're Twists, for example, ignore what I said earlier on. If it's possible to stay, you're gambling that you could ever be on a team as good as this again if you go on a Liquid. Like, if everything works out, maybe they could be as good as the team you're already on. And then also, because they win events, I just want to see them actually beaten in the game and then break up. Like, I'm fine with the lineup breaking up, Maui. It's just not when I actually know the only reason they're breaking up basically is the ownership of the team / maybe Twists wants to reunite with Liquid. Like, that's a whack reason, like, if you're a historian, for like, why did like the greatest team of the end of CSGO pick up? Just like some other reason, like, oh, so nothing in the game then. That's why it's ugly. That's why I put it in my ugly for this one.
Why did it die? A nuclear bomb. Like, because you're like, oh, you know, it's time, you know, at the end of like 2022, maybe start 2023, you're like, oh, maybe it's going to be time for Rain to go, you know, quietly into the night, and FaZe will pick someone else up, and then, you know, the final duo of Kerrigan and Rain will be over, and we'll be able to be happy and peaceful. And then Rain just starts playing fucking amazing in CS2 again. You're like, God damn it! Like, because ultimately you're like, it shouldn't be over. I don't want it to be over, but it's over.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.